Good morning. We have at the podcast studio in Central Virginia the wonderful company Welcome Home Financial Partners. It's a family business, and you're gonna hear from Mr. Ralph.
Ralph
He will
Short.
he will do the introduction,
Okay.
and we also have Tim, which is his son.
That's me.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your business?
Basically, we help people to be able to retire in the lifestyle that they want through complete financial, take a look at financial planning, talking about investments, talking about income planning, long-term care issues, and just anything that might be an obstacle in having a lifestyle that you dreamed of in your retirement years. Would you not agree, Tim?
Yeah, and I think it's important because, there's a lot of people that are kind of unsure of what retirement looks like, whether it's, the social aspect or the financial aspect, and that's where we kind of come in and, help them visualize what things will look like because it's a scary time. Everybody's worked for so long and now they've built up this nest egg and now it's to the point of, okay, hey, now I got to be self-sufficient, make sure I can live the rest of my years without worry of not having enough money. And I think, you'll see a lot of folks out there that specialize in one particular thing. Retirement plan is one of the best things that we do because it takes a look at the broad picture, not just, what investment or what rate of return are we chasing or anything to that nature.
And I think a lot of people are scared when they come to retiring because they've never done it before. They don't know what they need to do, and they need to understand it is a process. It's not just something you wake up one morning and say, hey, I'm going to retire and I've got a paycheck coming. I don't have to worry about anything anymore. Guess what? You're still going to have to worry about how are you going to pay your bills, how are you going to do the things that you want to do and pay for, and also always understand you're going to have to pay taxes, even in retirement. A lot of people say, what do you mean I got to pay? I'm retired. I'm not working. It doesn't matter. It's all about how much income you've got coming in because that's still part of the federal government's budget is your dollars, and they got to collect it from you no matter what your age is if you're still making money.
Yeah. I definitely think that it's a scary time because most people are not prepared. And what will be the best age to start thinking on retirement?
Now,
Yeah, and there's not an age. We talk about something that's called like the retirement red zone, and as we're approaching retirement, 3 to 5 years out, give us a call. And we, on our TV show or the radio show, we talk about this a lot. Is there's a lot of people, especially as of right now, that are really unsure of what the future is going to bring. And if you're forced into retirement, whether you wanted to or not, you've got to make sure that you can live because most people don't want to be, well, nobody wants to be forced into retirement. But if you get forced in, they probably don't want to go back to work, right? So there's a lot of things that come into play with that. And, there is no magical age or magical number. It's just being prepared as we approach retirement.
and I would say to most people, now you got to take a look at everything, no matter what your age is. Whether you're 20 years old just starting out, you need to understand that sooner or later you're going to retire. And it depends on what you've done in your working years is how well you're going to be prepared. So, you asked when is the best time to look at it. It's now, no matter what your age is. But it's more crucial for people that are within 5 to 10 years of when they think they might retire, okay, when they would want to retire. But like Tim said, we have so many companies that are downsizing right now. The federal government's downsizing. So all of a sudden you got a 45-year-old, that's got $500,000 in their TSP, and they don't know what to do now because guess what? Do they take the package or do they retire or do they get another job? They just don't know what to do. And if they start taking money out before 59 and a half, there's penalties for that.
Correct.
So those are all things that we sit down and talk to people about. It's just not about your investments, but how do you get through the struggles in your life because things are going to happen to you whether you like them or not.
That's so true. In my mind, I was thinking that the best time will be like when you are 20, so you will be ready when you are 60 or even younger to retire. Because when the people is young, they don't think about those issues.
They're 10 foot tall and bulletproof. We'll never get there because that's a long way off, right?
Yeah,
Guess
exactly.
what?
Exactly.
65, 70 years old comes quicker than you might think.
Oh yeah, and it is important to think about, investing at 20 years of age, but not necessarily the retirement planning piece, because there's
Okay,
other
okay.
strategies
I
to take a look
see.
at as you're approaching. But it is still important to check your strategies as, we age, because what you're doing at 20 shouldn't be the same thing at 30, 40, 50, or 60 or beyond.
And for example, what will be the approach if you get someone that is 5 years to retirement and the only thing they have backup is Social Security income?
Well, the approach is always going to be different depending on that individual situation. And that's what's important, because you'll see some folks out there that just push one avenue or the other avenue, and instead of taking a look to see, what's right for that particular folk, right? That particular person. So we need to make sure that, it's going to be tailor-made. We've got a process that we go through. But what's important is to get to know that individual and what they want to do, because that's what it's all about. It's not about, Ralph, it's not about myself. It's not about anybody at the office. It's what are you trying to do for your retirement, and then how can we get you there?
And I think a lot of people need to understand, there's two sides of the financial world when it comes to retiring. Everybody tells you have to have $1 million or $2 million in your retirement accounts in order for you to have a successful retirement. Well, the other side of the coin is, how well did you do in keeping your expenses down? Do you have, $100,000 in credit card debt? Those are things that we sit down and talk to people about, because guess what? Some people will come in and say, I only have $200,000 or $300,000 in my retirement. I don't know if I'll ever be able to retire, but they don't have any debt. They don't have any expense. Social Security just pays for everything that they're doing. So that's okay. It may not be the way that you want to retire, okay, because just living off Social Security, because it's not a nice thing to think about. But if you've done a good job on the other side, hey, well, you might be okay, but everybody's individual.
Exactly. So the solution will be for the customer to give you a call so you can analyze their particular case and their goals.
Yeah, we've got a process that we work through. It's called the Retirement Roadmap. It's a 2-meeting process, but really just kind of getting to know, their financial side, the emotional side. There's a lot of things that come into that. So it's not, hey, you walk into the front door and we say, hey, this is X, Y, and Z is what you're going to do. There is a process behind that, because we can't do our job without knowing, about those individuals.
And also understand, it is a scary thought when people come into a financial advisor's office, because they just know that they're going to have to sign something and give some money somewhere. Well, that's not really the case, because we can't make recommendations as fiduciaries until we know what you're trying to accomplish, because it's not a template. It's not a cut and dry cookie template that everybody is going to do. It's based on what you're trying to accomplish.
Perfect. And what will be the best way for the customer to reach you?
So they can visit our website. If they want to visit the website, they can find our phone number, addresses to the 3 offices around town, and all of that. But the website's a good place to start. I mean, our phone number is 804-897-4844. But also all of our information will be right there on the website.
And also, they can watch our television program on all 4 networks here in Richmond. So there's a lot of information on there, a lot of information that they can gather from what we do and how we do it. So it's on NBC, CBS, ABC, and Fox, particularly on Saturday night at 7:30 on NBC with Inspired Retired Television.
Perfect. Thank you very much for coming today, and I hope the people listening feel more comfortable to go and do the step of finding out what will be the best strategy.
All right. We appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.